My name is Anthony Begando. I'm the CEO of the Professional Credentials Exchange. I have spent the better part of the last 20 years working from a consulting and a technology perspective, helping very large healthcare systems, health organizations, payers, etc., fix their credentialing problems. And as such, in doing this work, I became exceptionally frustrated with the lack of technology that was available to be utilized, but frankly not being deployed to address some of the core problems that surround credentialing. First and foremostly, in running, a very large credentialing center for the military for several years, numerous years, there was nothing that we could do to enhance the cycle time around the reception and verification of a number of types of artifacts within a credential data set. Those would be things like employment verifications, specifically for, let's say, hospitals that don't even exist anymore. Malpractice in both claim and coverage, verifications. Things like delineations of privileges, procedure counts, peer references. These are the things that are a mandatory component of most credential, requirements, but take weeks or months, to acquire. And the problem that exists in the marketplace in our assessment was that there's no simple way for an organization to acquire and consume another organization's information in a way that was reliable and would be acceptable to healthcare systems, payers, etc. So those are the underpinnings of why we are creating the Professional Credentials Exchange and really the core win behind our sales at this point.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about topics you were discussing in the book and why you felt that those were important topics for you to write about?
You bet. So in creating an enterprise, or in our case, an industrial level solution that manages data in scale, you have to consider your utilization of blockchain in a way that aligns with that technology's capabilities, right? I think everyone who's participating within or contributing, to this book, will agree that blockchain is a transformational technology. It will change fundamentally the way we think about data, the way we think about systems, and the way we think about distribution of information inherently. But today, in blockchain's current state, and I really believe that we're sort of at blockchain 3.0 right now in the marketplace. So we saw obviously Bitcoin, we've seen the Ethereum's and the some of the other second tier or second generation protocols. And what we're seeing come into market now are protocols that are very, very use case focused, solutions that are focused on exchanges such as what we're developing, that have built into the language infrastructure itself the kinds of functionality and tools that we need, but in the same time, the data we deal with is very heavy, lots of images, lots of data itself. And blockchain is not a data model per se. Blockchain is a wonderful ledger and a wonderful transaction analytics engine, right? And in our case, we had to focus on how do we leverage this technology, but also deploy other layers within the architecture itself to do its job. And maybe a good way of representing this is in the classic software engineering genre. Today or in prior time, you had your data layer, you had your logic layer, and you had your experience layer, your visual layer. And I believe that blockchain now creates a fourth layer that's called trust. And what we're leveraging blockchain for is to give our members of the exchange the confidence and the assurity that what they're looking at, if they're acquiring a credential from Humana or they're acquiring a credential from St. Joseph's Hospital, that information that's coming to them is real, it has never been changed, and it can be relied upon, and they do not have to go and re-verify that same piece of information that has been good knows, good says 500, 200 times, whatever, by all the other organizations that person works with.
Can you talk a little bit about what you see as the most pressing issues with blockchain in terms of healthcare specifically?
So in terms of use cases? So I think there are scores of use cases for blockchain in healthcare. I think many agree that EMR integration is the holy grail right now. I mean, that's where everyone wants to see, this technology, move to and create use cases around. But I also think that everything from as simple as track trace in pharma to clinical trial data management and ownership, financial transaction processing, claim settlement and adjudication, things like contracts around bundles and that are driven by performance and driven by outcomes. And being able to assure that the information that are being used to execute those contracts is reliable, right? So I could go on, but I think there's nothing but opportunity that lies ahead, in the marketplace for this technology for the next probably 10 or 15 years.
So going off of that, looking forward into 2019 and beyond, what are you most excited about to see?
Well, I'm most excited about my stuff.
Yeah.
But we're really excited to. We've worked very hard this year. I am not going to lie about this. We have worked very hard this year. We're putting together a consortium of leading healthcare organizations in the industry who want to solve this problem. And next year will really be the year of our testing and pilots and then ultimately bringing the product to market. And it has been a long time coming, and we were very excited to see what we're doing, come to market. And certainly in an unselfish way, I also want to see other things that are right where we're at developmentally come to market. I want to see lots of good news around successful pilots. And I also want to see the beginnings of sharing and collaboration between these different solutions so we can all learn from each other's best practices and lessons and continue to evolve, the technology so that in the 2021 timeframe, we're seeing significant new entrants into the market that are creating, really game-changing solutions.
Awesome. Do you have anything you want to add for the readers?
Well, thank you very much for spending the time to walk through this wonderful book, and we really do have a cadre of contributors that are world class, the true thought leaders in the industry, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to have contributed to this work.